The first thing you need to understand is that I wasn't trying something new. I was hiding. There's a difference, one that sounds small when you say it out loud, but feels massive when you're alone in a room with the curtains drawn, a locked door, and a face in the mirror that looks like a secret you were never meant to keep. That afternoon, I had planned everything down to the minute. No roommates. No surprise visitors. No deliveries. No calls. No noise. Just me, my phone on silent, and the kind of nervous excitement that makes your fingers shake even when you're doing something you've done a dozen times before. On the bed lay the outfit, carefully folded like a promise I wasn't sure I deserved to make. A soft black dress, not flashy, not loud. It was simple, clean, elegant. The kind of dress you'd see on a woman walking out of a cafe like she owned the sidewalk. Next to it were nude tights, a padded bra, a small makeup bag that didn't belong to me, and a wig still in its net, dark brown with a gentle wave. All borrowed. Not stolen. Borrowed. Because stealing would have made me a criminal. Borrowing kept me in the gray area where I could pretend I was still a decent person. Her name was Rhea. And before you judge me, because I know you're already judging, understand this too. Rhea wasn't some random stranger. She was my best friend's cousin. She lived 2 floors above me in the same apartment building. And she had the kind of confidence that made you feel like you'd been living wrong your whole life. She also had a spare key to my flat. That last detail, at the time, seemed harmless. It wouldn't stay harmless for long. I stood in front of the mirror in my bedroom and inhaled as if I needed oxygen to do something as simple as exist. My reflection looked ordinary, too ordinary. A guy in his early 20s with tired eyes and hair that never sat right. The kind of face that disappears in crowds. And maybe that's why I wanted this. Not because I wanted to become someone else. Because for once, I wanted to stop being invisible inside my own skin. I set the wig aside and started with the base layer, tights, the padded bra, the dress still hanging on the wardrobe handle like it was watching me. I moved slowly, carefully, as if speed would make the truth uglier. Then I opened the makeup bag. Foundation, concealer, blush, highlighter, eyeliner, mascara, a lipstick that looked too bold for a person like me. My hands hesitated over the products, hovering like I was about to touch fire. "You're doing this," I murmured to myself. My voice sounded too deep, too male, too loud. Like it didn't belong in this room with these things. I began anyway. First, the foundation, dabbed, blended, smoothed. The scent of it was unfamiliar but comforting, like clean laundry and expensive soap. My skin tone evened out. My face softened. The harshness around my mouth and jaw blurred into something gentler. Then concealer under the eyes. A little blush on the cheeks. I watched the color rise like heat. It was working. And that was the scariest part. Because when you spend years telling yourself you're only curious, you're only messing around, you're only trying it once, you don't expect your reflection to look back at you like it's been waiting. I picked up the eyeliner. My breath shortened. Eyeliner, to me, was always the point of no return. Because it changed everything. It made the eyes speak. I leaned closer to the mirror, steadying my elbow on the dresser. The tip touched my lash line. One slow stroke. And in that moment, something in me unclenched. Not completely, but enough to keep going. I finished one eye. It looked good. Not perfect, but good. I added mascara carefully, blinking through it like a beginner, and suddenly my right eye looked like it belonged to someone who knew how to be seen. My left eye remained bare, wide, and terrified. I was halfway. Half transformed. Half trapped. That's when the doorbell rang. At first, I thought I imagined it. A single chime. Quick. Distant. My heart stuttered, then tried to calm itself. "Probably someone else," I whispered. But then it rang again. And again. Not a polite visitor. Someone impatient. Someone certain they were at the right door. My body reacted before my mind did. I stepped back from the mirror, mascara wand still in my hand, my mouth suddenly dry. I listened. Footsteps in the corridor outside. A faint rustle. Then, knuckles against my door. 3 firm knocks. "Hello," a voice called. Not a man. A woman. And not just any woman. My blood went cold because I recognized that voice. Rear. I stared at the door like it had betrayed me. No. No, no, no. She wasn't supposed to be here today. She had work. She had a life. She had plans. She had no reason to be at my flat. I glanced at my phone on the dresser. A notification blinked on the screen. Delivery attempt failed. Please contact support. My stomach dropped. The package. The stupid, careless package. Last night, in a moment of reckless confidence, I had ordered a pair of heels online. Not expensive, but elegant. I'd convinced myself I deserved one thing that was mine, something I didn't have to borrow, something I didn't have to return. But I had used my real address. And I had used my real name. And I had forgotten that deliveries sometimes went to neighbors when you weren't available. Rear again. Hey! I think a parcel of yours got delivered to me by mistake. Can you open? My entire body became a siren. I looked down at myself. Tights. Dress. Bra. One eye done. One eye bare. Lipstick half applied. Wig still on the bed, thankfully, but the room was a war zone of makeup, accessories, and the kind of evidence you can't explain away with a laugh. I couldn't open the door like this. I couldn't let her in. I also couldn't pretend I wasn't home. She'd heard me moving. She knew the flat wasn't empty. Knock, knock, knock. Are you okay? Her tone sharpened. I can hear you. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. I tried to speak, but what came out was a whisper, just a second. It sounded wrong. Thin. Nervous. Like a teenager caught doing something stupid. Silence. Then she said, slowly, "Was that you?" My heart slammed against my ribs. Because she noticed. Not what I was doing. But that something was different. I forced my voice deeper, to sound normal. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just busy. Busy. She laughed once, but it didn't sound amused. It sounded like she was testing the lock with her eyes. Open the door, yeah. I've been standing outside like an idiot. My mind spun through options at high speed, all terrible. Option 1, don't open. Pretend you're not home, but she already knew I was. Option 2, open quickly, snatch the parcel, close, but she might see me. Even a glimpse could end my life as I knew it. Option 3, change fast, wipe makeup, look normal, but she was outside. Waiting. She could stay there. She could call someone. She could use her spare key. And then that thought hit me like a slap. The spare key. I imagined her unlocking the door, stepping into my bedroom, seeing me like this, seeing the dress, the makeup, the whole secret laid out like a confession. The world tilted. Okay, I said quickly. Okay, wait, please. Give me 1 minute. 1 minute for what? She snapped. It's a parcel, not surgery. I moved like my body wasn't mine. I grabbed a makeup wipe from the dresser and scrubbed at my lipstick, smearing red into a pink stain around my mouth. I wiped harder, too hard, until my lips stung and my skin burned. The eyeliner remained, stubborn and dark, like the truth refusing to leave. I tugged the dress down, checking the neckline, praying it looked like something else in the dim light, like pajamas, like a costume, like anything but what it was. I looked around the room. The wig, still on the bed. The makeup, everywhere. A bra strap peeking near my collarbone. I cursed under my breath. Hello. Rhea called again, closer this time, as if she had leaned toward the door. If you're sick, tell me. If you're drunk, tell me. If you're hiding a girl in there, I swear. Hiding a girl. The irony almost made me laugh. I wasn't hiding a girl. I was hiding myself. My eyes darted to the wardrobe. I could shove everything inside. Hide the wig. Hide the makeup. Hide the dress. But I was wearing the dress. And the tights. And the bra. I couldn't hide myself in a closet. Not literally. I inhaled, forcing my brain to focus. I had to control what she saw. I rushed to the mirror. One eye, done, dramatic, feminine. The other, bare, wide, masculine. It looked like a face split between two lives. I grabbed the eyeliner and, with shaking hands, finished the second eye. If she was going to see me, she would see me fully. Not half. Not ashamed. Not mid-transformation like a crime scene. Mascara. Quick. Careful. Then I snatched the wig. My fingers trembled as I slid it on, adjusting the hairline, smoothing the strands. The moment the wig settled, my face changed again, softened, framed, almost believable. I stared at the mirror. A person looked back at me that I had never been brave enough to be in front of anyone else. My lips were smudged but still pink. My eyes were dark and expressive. The dress fit better than I had expected, clinging in the right places, hiding what it needed to hide. I looked real. Not perfect, but real. And then the doorbell rang again. And the world reminded me that real has consequences. Open the door. Ria's voice now had that dangerous calm. The kind people use when they're done being patient. I took one step toward the door. Then another. Every step felt like walking toward an execution. I paused with my hand on the handle. My skin went cold. I thought of my parents. My friends. My building. The gossip. The laughter. The messages in group chats. The looks in the corridor. I thought of how easy it would be for one moment to turn into a lifetime of being that guy. And then I thought of something else. How exhausting it was to live like a ghost in my own life. I unlocked the door. The click sounded too loud. I opened it, just a crack at first, then wider. Ria stood there holding a small cardboard box in one hand. She was in casual clothes, hair tied back, face bare. She looked normal, confident, annoyed. And then she looked at me. Her expression didn't change immediately. First came confusion, her eyes scanning my hair, my face, my dress like her brain refused to accept the picture. Then came shock. Her eyebrows lifted. Her lips parted slightly. Then, slowly, her gaze sharpened. She took a step closer, as if she needed to confirm I was real and not a hallucination. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. The corridor outside felt suddenly too bright, too open, too public. And then she said, very softly, "Oh." Just that. One syllable, heavy as a verdict. I tried to say something, anything, but my voice got stuck behind my teeth. Ria's eyes flicked past me into the room. She saw the makeup bag, the wipes, the scattered accessories, the mirror. She saw the life I'd built in silence. And then she looked back at my face. "You..." Her voice came out slow, careful. "Is this a prank?" I swallowed. "No," I whispered. My voice sounded different now. Not because I was trying. Because I couldn't control it. It was thinner, higher, trembling with fear. Ria stared at me like she was seeing a stranger wearing my body. "How long?" she asked. I blinked. "What? How long have you been doing this?" Her tone wasn't loud. It was worse, quiet, like she was talking to a wild animal that might run or bite. I gripped the door edge so hard my fingers ached. Sometimes, I said. It's not what you think." Ria's mouth twitched. "Okay. Tell me what I think." I looked away, humiliated. I could hear sounds from somewhere else in the corridor. Someone's TV, someone's fan, someone's footsteps far away. The building felt alive in the worst way. I started, and my throat closed. "I just like it." The truth landed between us like broken glass. Rhea's eyes widened again, but this time something else appeared behind them. Not disgust. Not laughter. Something like understanding mixed with caution. Like she was trying to decide whether I was dangerous or just different. She lifted the box slightly, like she'd forgotten why she was there. "This is yours," she said. My hands shook as I took it. The cardboard felt warm from her grip. I held it like it was a bomb. She didn't move. Didn't leave. She just stood there in the corridor, staring at me. And then she said something that made my stomach drop all over again. "You know," she murmured, "I have a spare key." I froze. Her eyes stayed on mine. "I didn't use it," she added. "But I was about to, because you were taking too long." My throat went dry. She could have walked in. She could have seen everything. She could have caught me mid-wipe, half-smudged, half-dressed, a mess of shame. And now she was standing here, calmly telling me she had the power to enter my space whenever she wanted. It felt like a warning. Or a promise. I forced myself to speak. "Please don't tell anyone." Rhea's face softened a little. "I'm not a monster," she said, almost offended. The way she said it made my chest ache with relief, and then fear immediately returned, because relief is temporary when your secret belongs to someone else. She tilted her head. "Can I come in?" she asked. The question was casual, but the stakes were not. If I said no, she might think I was hiding something worse. If I said yes, she would step into my room and into my truth. I hesitated too long. Rhea's expression changed again. Now she looked amused, not in a cruel way, but in the way someone looks when they're watching someone else panic over something obvious. "You're shaking," she said. "Relax. Relax." I was wearing a dress in my own doorway, caught by the one neighbor who had access to my life, holding a parcel that probably contained the heels I'd ordered in a moment of reckless courage. "Okay," I whispered. I stepped back. Rhea walked in. And as she crossed the threshold, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't a close call anymore. This was the start of a story I couldn't control. She glanced around my room, slowly, taking it all in, the makeup, the mirror, the wipes, the wig packaging, the faint scent of perfume that wasn't mine. Her gaze was sharp, like she was cataloging evidence, not to use against me, but to understand what she was looking at. Then she turned to me. Up close, her eyes were intense. "Sit," she said, pointing toward the edge of the bed like she was suddenly in charge. I Saturday. The dress rode up slightly over my thighs. I tugged it down instinctively, my face burning. Rhea watched the motion. A small smile played on her lips. "You've done makeup before," she noted. I stared at the floor. "A little." "A little," she repeated, like she didn't believe me. Then she leaned in, studying my face. "Your eyeliner is not bad." I looked up, startled. Compliment? From her. My mouth opened, but no words came out. Rhea straightened, crossing her arms. "Why didn't you just tell me?" she asked. I laughed once, bitter and shaky. "Tell you what? Hey, by the way, I like dressing up like this." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Yes. That's not something you just..." I stopped myself. My voice cracked. "It's not safe." Rhea's expression softened again, and for a moment she looked older than me. Not by age, by experience. "Safe?" she echoed. "From who?" I didn't answer. We both knew. She exhaled, slow. "Okay," she said. "Listen. I'm not here to judge you." I didn't believe her yet. Judgment doesn't always come with yelling. Sometimes it comes with silence, with distance, with a smile that never reaches the eyes. Rhea walked to the dressing table and picked up the lipstick. She turned it in her fingers. "This is mine," she said, not accusingly, just stating. My stomach clenched. I was going to replace it. She set it down gently. "I don't care," she said. Then she looked at the box in my lap. "What did you order?" she asked. My hands tightened around it. "It's nothing." Rhea raised one eyebrow. "It's clearly something." I hesitated. Then, with the kind of shame that makes you reckless, I peeled the tape and opened the box. Inside was tissue paper. I pulled it back. A pair of heels, nude, mid-height, sleek. Rhea's eyes widened. "Oh," she said again, but this time it sounded different. Not shock. Not confusion. Something like admiration. She took one heel from the box and held it up, examining it. "These are actually cute," she said. My face burned hotter. "You think so?" Rhea glanced at me like she'd forgotten she was supposed to be cautious. "Yeah," she said. "But you bought the wrong size." My heart stopped. "What?" She turned the heel over and squinted at the label. "This size is not yours," she said bluntly. I stared. "It is." Rhea looked at my feet, then back at the heel, then back at me. She didn't laugh. She didn't mock. She just did the most dangerous thing she could do in that moment. She smiled. A real smile. "You're adorable," she said quietly. "And you're lying." My throat tightened. "I'm not lying," I insisted, but the words sounded weak even to me. Rhea set the heel down and walked closer. She lowered her voice. "Are you trying to make your feet look smaller?" she asked, almost gently. I didn't answer. The answer lived on my face. Rhea nodded slowly like she'd figured out a puzzle. "Okay," she said. "So you're serious about this?" Serious. The word hit me like a punch, because I'd spent years telling myself it was a phase, a curiosity, a private game. But here was Rhea, standing in my room, looking at me with calm eyes, calling it what it was. Serious. She sat on the chair near the mirror. "Well," she said, crossing one leg over the other. "Now what?" I stared at her. "What do you mean?" She shrugged. "You opened the door like this. You let me in. So either you want me to leave and pretend I never saw anything." She paused. "Or you want to stop hiding for 5 minutes." My breath caught. My entire life had been built around hiding. Hiding my browsing history, hiding the clothes I bought and returned, hiding the pictures I took and deleted, hiding the way my heart raced when I saw certain outfits, hiding the quiet relief I felt when I looked feminine, even if it was only for an hour. Stop hiding for 5 minutes. It sounded impossible. And yet, Rhea leaned forward. "Look at me," she said. I did. Her eyes were steady. "Tell me your name," she said. I blinked. "My name." "Not your legal name," she clarified. "Your name. The one you use when you look like this. Don't tell me you don't have one." My mouth went dry. I did have one. I'd never spoken it out loud. Not even alone. Because saying it would make it real. Rhea waited. The room felt too quiet. Finally, I whispered it. "Anaya." The moment the name left my lips, it felt like something inside me snapped into place, like a lock turning. Rhea repeated it softly. "Anaya." I flinched, almost crying, and I hated myself for it. Rhea's face softened. "There you are," she said quietly. And in that moment, before the world could ruin it, I felt something I hadn't expected. Not fear. Not shame. Relief. Then the doorbell rang again. Not my door. Somewhere else on the floor. But the sound still shattered me. Because it reminded me that the building was alive, that people existed, that any second someone could show up, and this fragile bubble would pop. Rhea noticed my reaction. She glanced toward the door, then back at me. "Okay," she said, standing up. "We're going to do this properly." I frowned. "Do what?" She walked to the wardrobe and opened it without asking, scanning it like she owned the space. "Finish your makeover," she said. My stomach turned. "No." I can't. Rhea turned, eyebrows raised. You already did. You just don't realize it. I stared at her. She grabbed the makeup bag and tossed it onto the bed beside me. Sit, she ordered again, this time more playful than commanding. I'm fixing your lipstick. It looks like you fought a strawberry. Rhea. Anaya, she corrected immediately, like it was nothing. My chest tightened again. I didn't stop her. I don't know why I didn't stop her. Maybe because part of me had been waiting my whole life for someone to touch this secret without breaking it. Rhea took a tissue, cleaned the smudge carefully, then applied lipstick with the precision of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. There, she said. Better. I swallowed. Why are you helping me? Rhea shrugged. Because you're not hurting anyone. Then she leaned in, eyes narrowing as she studied my face. And because you have potential, she added. Potential. Another word that made my stomach flip. She stepped back. Stand up, she said. I obeyed, legs unsteady. She circled me once like a stylist assessing a model. The dress fits, she said. But the posture is wrong. My posture. Yes, she said. You're wearing it like you're guilty. My throat tightened. Rhea moved behind me and placed her hands lightly on my shoulders. Straight, she said. Relax your neck. Let your shoulders drop. I did, trembling. She tilted my chin slightly upward. Breathe, she said. I breathed. And for a second, in that tiny shift, chin up, shoulders relaxed, I looked in the mirror and saw her. Not him. Not the scared boy. Her. Anaya. I stared at my reflection like it might vanish if I blinked. Rhea watched my face in the mirror. That, she said quietly, is the real you. My eyes stung. I whispered, you don't know me. Rhea's voice softened. I know what it looks like to be trapped. Silence. The air between us thickened. Then, casually, like she wasn't holding my life in her hands, she asked, do you want to go outside? My blood turned to ice. What? Rhea smiled slightly. Just for 2 minutes. Corridor. Not the street. Baby steps. No, I said immediately. No way. Rhea's smile didn't fade. Why? Because someone will see. And, she said, and they'll know. Rhea crossed her arms. They'll know what? That you're wearing a dress? That you look good? That you're human? I shook my head hard. You don't understand, I said. You can walk outside wearing anything and people will just accept it. For me it's different. Rhea's eyes sharpened. You think I haven't been judged? She asked, voice suddenly cold. You think I haven't had men stare at me like I'm public property? You think I haven't been called names for wearing shorts, for laughing too loud, for coming home late? I froze. Rhea exhaled. Then her voice softened again. You're right, she said. I don't understand exactly, but I understand fear. I looked away. Rhea stepped closer. Anaya, she said gently, I'm not going to push you into trauma. But I'm also not going to let you stay locked in here forever if you don't want to. I swallowed. What do you want from me? I whispered. Rhea's gaze flicked to the heels in the box. Then back to my face. I want to see you walk in them, she said, almost teasing. And I want to see you stop apologizing for existing. My heart pounded. I didn't trust her. But I also didn't trust myself. Because something inside me, something reckless, wanted to say yes. And before I could decide, my phone buzzed on the dresser. A call. Unknown number. My body stiffened. Rhea glanced at it. You expecting someone? She asked. I shook my head, throat tight. The phone buzzed again, insistently. Then the screen lit up with a message preview. This is building security. Please respond. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like falling. Ria's expression changed immediately. What did you do? She asked. I didn't do anything, I whispered, but my voice didn't sound convincing, even to me. The phone buzzed again. And then, like the universe had perfect comedic timing, the doorbell rang again. This time, it wasn't my imagination. It was my door. A deep, heavy knock followed. Not Ria's light taps. A man's knock. Authoritative. The kind that says, open, or we open for you. Ria's eyes widened. Who is that? She whispered. I stared at the door. My entire body went numb. Because suddenly, this wasn't just embarrassment. This felt like danger. And the worst part? I had no idea whether the danger was real, or whether my own fear had finally learned how to imitate it.